when the first season of Shark Tank aired, and we were also like, looking at it as, wow, we should probably be in a place like this.
So we took each round. We were like,
Yeah.
there was no like TV pe aana hai. It was just like, let's go. Entry is.
Yeah.
It was way bigger than you expect. So you get in and you're
Yeah,
like,
the set
"Oh,
is
damn."
beautiful. Like we felt that.
We were very okay that if we don't get offers, it's fine. But once you get in,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, somebody say no. Like, I was like, someone just say it's okay.
Most of the time, you're just waiting for your turn to talk to the team. Right? You're just in one room and you get called to another room. Then people escort you throughout. You can't go anywhere. Even if you have to go to use the restroom, somebody has to come with you.
Just about when we were about to like close things out, Anupam also kind of reached out and said, yeah, we'll participate. So that's how that first round kind of
So
came
did he
together.
tell you to participate in the next Shark Tank? Shark Tank
No,
season?
so when the first season of Shark Tank aired, and we were also like, looking at it as, wow, we should probably be in a place like this, right?
Yeah,
Actually,
they cracked it, no?
Yeah, close to, I think, was it Jan, Feb, March? I think when the first season happened. Yeah, sometime in March, the Shark Tank team started reaching out to a few brands and generally saying that, we're coming up with Shark Tank season 2. This is the application. Why didn't you fill it out? So when that happened, and this was not Anupam, by the way. This was just these guys genuinely reaching out to a number of brands. We also got to know because a few other brands that are in the ecosystem got the invites. It was not an invite as much as saying push to apply essentially. So quickly called Anupam and said, and we told them that, listen, it seems a little bit like a conflict, so let's just come back to you guys. Spoke to Anupam. Anupam was like, listen, this is a fairly transparent process. I don't need to know anything about it. If you want to do it, just do it. And don't keep me posted. So we genuinely didn't keep him posted at all. And went through the application. There's a fairly large form to fill. They ask you to send a video along with it. And then we did that. And they called us, I think, application was in April. We got a call in June for a screen test in Bangalore. They had shortlisted, I think, about 50, 60 brands. And they do the exact same thing that you do in the tank in a, a conference hall or something like that in a hotel with the cameras and everything on. So we kind of decided what we would wear, how we would speak and all that. We did the whole thing in English. Post that, we kind of got to know that we were shortlisted, but with the caveat that we had to, polish our language and sort of, do the whole thing in Hindi. We said, yeah, Hindi is not a problem. We can do it. And then October was when the filming, not October, August was when the filming started. And we got a call to come for the shoot in the first schedule. And the bookings were done and everything. We also had our flight tickets booked and all of that. The night prior to when we were supposed to leave, we got a call saying, listen, yours has been sort of pushed. We'll come back to you. That's when it hit me that maybe this Anupam factor is actually a factor, right? That perhaps there could be something going on. I still didn't reach out to Anupam because I was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. 1 month later, in October, they called us. And they said that, the shoot's getting scheduled next week, so you guys need to come in. And so we sort of went for the shoot. And at that point, I actually asked these guys, saying, do you think that this Anupam thing is like a problem for you guys? They said, have you guys been like, talking about this and all that? And I said, no, this is the truth and this is what the situation is. They said, honestly, the reason why we kind of had to cancel your first schedule is because of this. But then we had a chat in the writer's room and we thought that this could be an interesting episode also to see how a brand that's already, and because these guys generally keep investing in other places, there would be more such instances. So we just wanted to see how it could be an interesting episode. So we said, we'll have you guys also. So October we went for the shoot, and genuinely that was the first time that I met Anupam Mittal in the in the tank. Until then, I had actually never met him. So again, we knew that something might happen because it is a transparent show, right? We don't know anything about it. We're going in kind of cold only. So we were prepared that something will happen. We thought he'll just sit quietly and say that, I think I'll not say anything and you guys kind of decide. But I think that was the theatrics that they had to do, right? To essentially say we will kind of walk out and watch from somewhere else. So that's how that whole thing kind of panned out.
So, why Shark Tank? How did it happen? Like, you planned it or you just... like, it happened?
Zero planning. to be very honest, I didn't even know he had applied for Shark Tank. I was just chilling.
Yeah, I was actually applying for my mother. I was trying to fill her form, and I thought, let's side me apply. We are enterprise facing, so it's not like we want to come in a consumer phase, but at the same time, people don't know ODR. We feel there's a responsibility to create the category, create that education around. So we thought, let's just apply, let's see. And they had their bunch of rounds. Slowly, we started clearing the rounds. And then we realized, okay, now they're calling us to Bombay. And that's I think just one round before that, we sort of discussed.
The round before that, Pranjal was like, see this email? And it was like, congratulations, you're going to the next round. I was like, since when? But even there, I think, again, I feel just being naive and just taking each step at a time and moving forward. Even when we went
This
for the
seems like your
pre-audition.
playbook, doesn't it? Everything happens like that.
And I
then
think the funny thing about this playbook is you can't be intentionally naive. You just need to exist like that. So we took each round. We were like, there was no like TV pe aana hai. It was just like, let's go. It was like...
No, I was talking the other way around. It seems like your playbook that you do everything and then you come and say, oh, ho gaya.
Oh, no. If you just
It's
hang out with
intentional naiveness.
if you hang out with us, you'll know we were like fully like
because
out
we
of it.
actually didn't have a lot of incentive because we were like, Shark Tank is great for products.
Yeah.
No, trust building happens for other enterprises, right?
For sure. I think that's why then we were like, okay, slowly there is a angle. We were also it's the whole ODR concept is very technical, so we didn't know whether we'll fit the shows.
I was very scared the shows in Hindi. That was my biggest fear. ODR being technical.
And South and all people are not very aware of Shark Tank. Huh? Like it's more in the north side.
Yeah, my parents like downloaded the app only because like we were coming.
On the other side, my family has watched every single episode since season 1. They're huge fans of the.
No, it's become a household name. But tell me about the overall experience. How was it?
Yeah, so then so we got through and then we were called to Bombay and there was the 2 minutes speech. You can prepare that fully. That's why you're like an uninterrupted sort of speech. So we prepared that speech and they gave us feedback on that, all those things. So yeah, then on that day, we entered the tank, as they say, and with a 2-minute prepared speech. And
That's a vibe though. That
entry
is... Yeah. It was way bigger than you expect, so you get it and you're like,
the set is
damn.
beautiful. Like we felt that, and man, they have a tough life. We were just thinking that, this life is not easy. Like sort of, so many contestants are there, coordinating with everybody, etc. We are just one of the many. Yeah, and that's what I think. Then the show, we were like
One of the very few who got no negative comments, like kind of an all shark. Very nice.
I was
nice
very nervous
experience in the sense that कुछ हुआ ही नहीं इसके अंदर.
I was very nervous. मजाक नहीं होना चाहिए. इतनी मेहनत करिए. Offer ना मिले ठीक है, but they should not make fun.
You were very okay if we don't get offers, it's fine. But once you get in, you're like, okay, somebody say no. Like, someone just say it's okay.
But
and
did you
then
get
all
what you
five
wanted?
said.
Yeah. So then the pitching happened, and then the question answers. So it's very genuine and authentic.
Yeah.
That also you have your apprehension would be very genuine and authentic. Everything is. Then they genuinely want to understand our business. They have they prod, they ask a lot of questions. It's going on almost 1.5 hours later. And then, like when Aman says, Acha, I'll give you an offer. Then you're like, okay, chalo, kuch.
Now it doesn't matter what happens, at least someone said it. It validates the work we've done till now.
Shark Tank पे चले.
चलिए शार्क टैंक में चलते हैं.
Top line बढ़ाने. Here, continuing from the Twitter thing, okay, I was following you when it was on Shark Tank. Anyway, but हुआ क्या था? You said that it was like a lot of people want to know that do they have the scripts or the pitches early? आपके जाने से पहले उनके पास होता है कि नहीं होता? Do they have the numbers before you go and pitch? Or is it just a very impromptu?
I'll tell you the entire story of Shark Tank. Shark Tank happens like it's a reality show, right? What happened was, I don't know who pitched our name there. Suddenly we got an email.
Yeah, ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है यार? CEO.
I'll tell you, there are a lot of investors out there who are advising Shark Tank to get.
Got
हो
it.
सकता है one of our investors would have pushed our name. Right? We got an email from setindia.com and it was in Comic Sans font, by the way. So I was initially very skeptic. Then I told my co-founder कि just check the spelling of the name Set India. It is like कुछ तो गड़बड़ है क्या, LINDA कुछ लिख दिया होगा. तो नहीं नाम सही है. तो मैंने कहा ठीक है. तो this is like first round. कि they had a form to fill करो and all that and next round होगा फिर. We filled the form, forgot about it. Next round they called us to Dwarka, में कोई hotel था. And we went there and we found all kinds of people there. We were the outliers there because we were the people who would go for a fundraiser and everything.
Correct.
And we had people who made handicrafts, achar, kuch. They had it looked like a reality show audience.
बड़ा पैसे उठाने नहीं गए थे ना?
हाँ नहीं पैसे नहीं गए थे. तो ये तो फर्स्ट पार्ट था. फिर उसके बाद हमको शार्क टैंक में बुलाया. शार्क टैंक में बुलाया तो अगेन इन ईमेल आया. तो तब तक मुझे लग रहा था कि इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा यहाँ पे. अच्छा नहीं ठीक है. Then the email came. It was written that we'll reimburse your third AC fare. Then I realized it's a reality show. It's like there's the same team which does Dance India Dance or Indian Idol and Shark Tank. Right? So basically they know that any contestant is basically a prop, right? And they have to extract juice out of that prop. Either make people laugh, make others laugh on that prop, or let the prop make others cry.
यार पहले बताते हम फ्लाइट ना बुक कराते हैं.
They're the only two options. No, we went on a flight. We didn't go to third AC and all that. So the whole idea was that you are the product. A contestant is the product, right? You go on Shark Tank, there are only two emotions to highlight. One is if you're rags to riches story, they'll highlight, oh, cry and all, we give money and all that. That works really well on reality TV. Another option is where they mock you. First, to show that these guys are cocky people, and then we'll bash them. Okay, these are IIT Bombay people, and they have come from this funding. Now our sharks, who are son of the soil people, who know the ground level reality, will screw these guys, and people will derive pleasure in it.
Correct.
So that's the kind of two emotions that they go for.
यहाँ के गब्बर हम हैं.
हाँ, यहाँ के गब्बर हम हैं. तो हम बताएंगे, अच्छा तुम गब्बर सिंह हो, आओ तुम क्या है. So
You knew them already?
No, I think Ashni was an investor, but he was not there in that season. Others I didn't know. I knew of them, but didn't know them actually.
But they knew Gabbar.
They knew Gabbar. Gabbar, at least you would have seen some tweet. Been 13 years, तो कुछ न कुछ देखा होगा कुछ न कुछ. तो and so went for the show. They made us rehearse for 5 days basically. There's a 5-day window, and once you go in there, you realize it's a reality show.
5 दिन rehearsal है.
3 दिन rehearsal, 2 दिन shooting का होता है उसमें. तो 3 दिन you will be treated like cattle. तो आपको बैठा देंगे नीलकमल चेयर में बाहर बैठे रहो. आपको नंबर आएगा तो यू आर ए फाउंडर, यू विल से कि अरे मेरा तो ऑफिस है बड़ा, ये सब कुछ है, बट दिल जहाँ वहीं बैठ जाओ, चलो नीलकमल चेयर.
रियलिटी शो का रियलिटी चेक हो रहा है.
हाँ, आपका नंबर आएगा, कोई एक अंदर कोई बॉस लेडी बैठी है, वो आपका पिच सुनेगी, एंड लाइक नहीं ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, हटाओ उसको, ऐसे. दे आर लाइक वेरी वेरी ब्रूटल दैट वे.
So they also fine tune your pitch.
हाँ, तो they had this thing that okay, you would have pitched to investors, right, VCs and all, which are like urban people and everything, but your pitch has to be in Hindi, which should make sense to a guy in Patna or Jhansi.
Makes sense.
So which we realized, हाँ ठीक बात है. तो फिर we did it in Hindi and everything, and we went there. But we realized we were in the other cohort, which is basically अच्छा हीरो बन के आ तुम्हें लेंगे. If you see last year as well, all the VC backed startups were bashed a lot.
Correct.
Ashni के ऊपर बोलेगा, अच्छा तुम वहाँ से फंडिंग लेके आए हो, चलो बताते तुम तुम्हारी क्या औकात है.
But is that what was on camera? Is that how it was, the conversation? Because it's a longer conversation.
So again, I'll tell you, it's a 1.5 hour long pitch,
Okay.
basically. And to your first question, do they know numbers and how are they able to commit an amount and all that? All that is for TV right now. See, what will happen is that you go in, they won't have any inkling about your numbers and all. They'll listen to your pitch. That part is non-scripted, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that they have a script and you have to reply it this way and all that.
Not script, but do they have your financials and everything to make a decision?
Nothing like that.
So that's the first time that they're seeing it.
So the Shark Tank team will look at your financial and all, but I don't know how competent they are that time. This is not audit. They'll believe what you say, basically, right? And then we went there and they asked some random questions. Pretty stupid questions, by the way. Like, dude, what the is this? One guy asked, what is the virality coefficient of your app? I said, what is virality coefficient? Virality coefficient. I've never heard this term. No investors ever asked me this. It's usually DAU, MAU, and basically time spent on the app. I said, what is this? So, and I was in pressure that time because my thing was, my whole sole purpose was to somehow take this pitch on TV. Because not all pitches make it to TV. Going to TV was a straight line equation of 5 crores of media.
So it's the best ROI for
Best
you.
ROI, yeah. I was like, dude, somehow I have to make it interesting enough to be on TV. We did some random thing of all that. So that we knew that this will make good promos. So we'll do that, right? So that they will never cut you out. So we did all that. And in the end, Anupam Mittal basically he was the one who bashed us. But because you know what happened, we had met him earlier itself for angel investments, and I didn't know that he was on Shark Tank and on Aane Wala Hai. And he, in that Zoom call we had, he was like a shark. He was like, "Chha, tum ye kiya? Tum itne hi tej ho to IIT kyun nahi gaye?" All that he said. So I was a bit pissed off. And he's like, "Kya handle hai tumhara? Gabbarsingh? Sinha? Kya hai? Kya spelling hai?" Dude, the is happening? I got the call.
And then you saw him at Shark Tank.
And he remembered that.
Okay.
इधर अपनी बात हुई है ना, हाँ. I don't know if they showed it on TV or not, but he said अपनी बात हुई है ना, हाँ हुई है.
Let's just start from your Shark Tank experience.
Okay.
I've heard a lot about it. I've seen the video.
Okay.
But I want to know behind the scenes, the BTS of Shark Tank.
Sure.
Tell me what happens behind Shark Tank first. The whole process of before you enter the tank.
So you know the process. You apply. There's a in-person audition round, and after that they call you directly for Bombay.
Okay.
And you land up there. Everybody stays in the same hotel. So it's like a hotel full of Shark Tank participants. Then they take you to the studio. It was my first experience actually being in a proper studio. I had no idea what it looked like. So basically there are huge rooms which are just black. They just have black walls and they suspend these sets there essentially. They're creating worlds in those spaces. So the first day they just take you through the studio, make you meet the business team, the production team, all of them. You meet different teams who will be working with you. And the first day they actually take you through, the business team sort of walks you through the process. They question you on your numbers and things like that. And the production crew starts to work on your pitch, right? So essentially you're there for 4 days. The first 2 days is you just getting your pitch and your setup proper.
So how much of your pitch was yours and how much was it helped by them?
I would say most of it is ours.
Okay.
They're just there to sort of tell you what will work. Because essentially you have 2 minutes on TV, on national TV to say whatever you want
Fair
to
enough.
do.
Okay.
How can you say something that's going to have an impact?
Got it.
So they know their business well and you know your product well and they sort of help you fine tune your pitch essentially. So
So 2 days, pitch is ready now.
pitch is ready. Third day, there's no rehearsal, right?
Okay.
Rehearsal is just you looking at the mirror and talking essentially. So pitch undergoes multiple rounds of refinement, right? You have your first version, they tell you not to mug it up, right? And if you have to do it, they say do it in the last moment. The most challenging part for Prithvi and I was that it was in Hindi, right? So
No, that's been with a lot of people I've heard.
it's really hard. And something as technical as mushrooms, where everything is some scientific jargon, for us to communicate that in Hindi was very difficult. And Prithvi is normally the one who does all the talking. She's extremely comfortable being on stage and she's really good at it. But here she had to sort of take a back seat because her Hindi is terrible. Mine was slightly better because I spent my bachelor's in Rajasthan. So I spent some time where I learned a fair bit of Hindi. But she couldn't really help on stage. And whatever she spoke also sort of like taken out. So the first 3 days is just rehearsal. Then while all of this stuff is happening, you have to also give them what you want on the screens, right? There are 2 screens. There's a big TV and a vertical standee. So you have to work with them on what you want to put there. Most companies have teams, dedicated teams for this, right? But since we were a small brand, and at the same time, unluckily, there was a trade show happening in Delhi. And we had to sort of come for this and miss that one. So our team was there.
Okay.
So there was nobody that we could reach out for help. So we had to do everything while we were there in Mumbai. So we set up all the digital assets. The third thing was getting the display ready. So you can use whatever they have, which is standard tables and things like that, or you can get your own custom display done at your own expense. They won't pay for this. So they have their vendors who you speak to. They can connect you with people and then you sort of brainstorm with them and get something
That's
done.
the product display.
Yeah, that was a giant mushroom in the background. What you can see on stage right now, all of that stuff was done with their help. So getting that put together was extremely stressful because that thing finally we saw like 10 minutes before we went on stage.
Okay.
Right? It was going on for 3 days, but it never really happened. So refinement of all of these things is what happens over that time. And if the business team or if they have any concerns, they'll come and they'll talk to you. You might have to clear some things for them. If your pitch has some issues, they might change it. And for us, that change kept happening till almost the last moment. Because they're like, no, you can't use this word. you can't say this, you can't do that. So that's sort of what happens till that last moment. Most of the time, you're just waiting for your turn to talk to the team. Right? You're just in one room and you get called to another room. Then people escort you throughout. You can't go anywhere. Even if you have to go to use the restroom, somebody has to come with you.
Okay.
Right? Because there's multiple things happening there. There's Kaun Banega Crorepati and multiple other shows happening. And if you enter the wrong room, you're now in a different set. So they don't want that to happen.
Okay.
So you have people following around all the time. So if you want to go somewhere, it's like you're back in school and you're like, listen, can I please use the washroom? And then the guy escorts you till there. It's a little awkward. So that happens throughout, right? And then they keep calling you to a different room. There are multiple different rooms. One where the production crew sits, one where the business team sits. So you're just constantly being shuttled between rooms. And when this thing is over, finally they take you back to the hotel. And this keeps happening for 3 days essentially.
Okay. So your pitch went through multiple iterations until the last moment.
Until the last moment, it went through multiple iterations.
Okay. And then you're on stage here.
Yeah. Then basically they shoot your walk. They shoot that once before you do it.
Okay.
Right? And that music was giving me like stress for the longest time. After I did that walk twice with Prithvi, and I was constantly sweating. The stage, the whole studio is like at some 12 degrees. Right? Because they have seriously really hot lights there and they don't want you to sweat or any of the makeup or whatever to run. Despite that, both of us were getting like sweat patches. My face was becoming sweaty, and we were extremely nervous before walking on stage. The time that you pushed that door and walk in, that was very stressful. That walk was shot separately also, and also when you do it. And then there's this marking on the ground where you have to go and stand, all of that stuff.
And that's when you meet the sharks for the first time.
That's when you meet the sharks for the first time. The first 2 minutes is uninterrupted. Right? You get 2 minutes of your time from the time you go on stage till my ask is. That's your pitch essentially. That's rehearsed. Everything after that is...
How much of Nuvedo did the sharks know before your pitch? Do they know everything about you?
No. They don't know anything about us, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're basically tossing a coin based on a 2-hour conversation. And 12 minutes of that is what made on TV, essentially.
Okay, so now I want to know the remaining 1 hour 38 minutes.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Because there is something which I feel is a miss here. But anyway.
There's a lot of things missing in here.
But that's for every pitch. But here, suddenly something is flipping here. I mean, they like you and then they don't like you.
The 2 minutes that we actually said on stage is not the 2 minutes here either.
This is shorter.
They omitted a lot of key things inside this and changed the narrative a little bit. Because a lot of what we pitched was for Make in India. Because if you look at the market right now, almost all the exotic mushrooms sold in India are coming from China.
Okay.
Right? And that's what we were sort of pitching for. And most of the times you test these mushrooms, we've personally seen it also, they test positive for heavy metals, for pesticides. They'll give you all the COAs. Certificates of analysis are given to you. They'll give it to you however you want it.
And you have no control over what the editing is,
No,
right?
nothing. So you're just like crossing your fingers and hoping that they put it out in a way that doesn't make you look bad.
No, but the pitch was nice. I mean, sorry, you know what you had prepared.
Right.
But we are saying what is there.
Right.
I think
More or less, they kept it the same. But they did omit a lot of like key things that we had to say.